On the news, Supreme Court stops CBN from further release of financial allocation to Rivers State. Tinubu and Dangote and others hold talks on Naira for crude policy. And Senate confirms appointment of ministerial nominees. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Simisola Atiku. As the political crisis in Rivers lingers on, the Federal High Court Abuja has stopped the Central Bank of Nigeria from further releasing monthly financial allocations to the state government. Justice Joyce Abdul Malik issued the order on Wednesday in a judgment on a suit filed by the Rivers State House of Assembly led by Martins Ameole. In her ruling, Justice Abdul Malik held that the presentation of the 2024 budget by Governor Siminalayi Fubara before a four-member Rivers House of Assembly was an affront to the constitutional provision. Specifically, the judge said that Fubara's action in implementing an unlawful budget smacked of gross violations of the 1999 Constitution, which he vowed to protect. The judge subsequently restrained the CBN, the Accountant General of the Federation, Zenith Bank and Access Bank from further allowing Fubara to access money from the Consolidated Revenue and Federation account.
This is a judgment that touches on the constitutional powers of court and then on the extant provisions of the Constitution. The issues are very clear. Let us explain in very clear terms. The section 120, 121, 122 and 123 of the Constitution clearly stipulated what should be done before the state can spend money, state expenditure. And it's clear there that no money shall be appropriated without an appropriated bill being passed by the House of Assembly. It is very clear from the judgment of Motosho, which was confirmed by the Court of Appeal, that the budget was not properly passed. And in a situation like that, if it's not passed within 6 months, a state is not supposed to collect revenue from a consolidated fund. That is the issue of lawyers. That is the extant provision of the law. And that's what the court has confirmed today, that the Rivers State government has not complied with the requirement of the Constitution on appropriation of bills for expenditures and all the things that they need to do in the state government. It's a very clear judgment. And then also looking at all the other judgments that have been passed in respect of the Rivers State government. It's clear from this judgment, which also rely on the judgment of the Court of Appeal, that the state government is in violation of the extant provisions of the Constitution relating to expenditure and passing of the bill for expenditure.
Our reactions have no doubt been trailing the ruling by the Abuja Federal High Court stopping monthly financial allocations to the Rivers State government. A legal expert, Abraham Jigu, joins me on the news to discuss further. Thank you very much for your time, Abraham. Now, what's your take on this ruling by Justice Abdul Malik, predicated on the grounds that the Rivers State government is in violation of the Constitution regarding the state's expenditures? That's Governor Fubara now presenting the 2024 budget before a four-man Rivers House of Assembly.
Yes, the judgment, thank you very much for the opportunity. The judgment is in order. The Honorable Justice have not done or given any judgment that is outside the law. As you have heard from the my learned friend, the lawyer to the speaker, the factionalized speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly, Mr. Hamimili. What the Honorable Court has done is in line with the Constitution. But then, my take really is that the court should be aware that this matter has gone to the Supreme Court. And the Honorable Court of Appeal had ordered the Rivers State Governor to represent the budget So an opportunity has been given, another opportunity has been given to the governor to do the right thing. And the matter is sub judice. The matter has been appealed by the River State governor or River State government. So I would have thought that the Federal High Court would have stayed their hand on the matter until the final pronouncement by the Supreme Court. But if we look at it legally, the court has not done anything outside what was presented before it. The lawyers presented that, look, the River State government is in violation of the Constitution. They have not done what they are supposed to do properly before they can access funds from the Federation. So they have not done anything wrong. But I would have said, feeling the heat of the society, the court should have stayed their hand and wait for the Supreme Court to give judgment, being that the matter before the Court of Appeal has been appealed, and everybody knows that this matter is in court. So I really do not fancy what the Federal High Court has done right now, because even the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the CJN, has shown interest in this matter and has even ordered all the judges involved in the River State matter to come and appear before them and explain why we have all sorts of varied judgments, contradicting judgments flying about. I mean, we should, I believe that when the Supreme Court will finally settle this matter.
Right.
So my take really is that, well, the Federal High Court has not done anything illegal. They have not done anything in violation of the law. They've actually upheld the Constitution.
The governor is yet to, represent the River State 2024 budget as ordered by the court. Now, going by these various court rulings, which are obviously not in favor of Fubara's favor, is it wise for him to keep delaying on this action?
No, I don't think it's wise, but I also think he is doing the right thing by waiting for the Supreme Court to give and settle the matter. If the Supreme Court finally settles the matter, the governor of River State has no more say in the matter. He has to do the right thing because there's nowhere else to appeal to. So once the Supreme Court finally settles this matter, the governor of River State has no choice but to obey. So for now, you cannot blame the governor of River State if he is not taking any action, because he has appealed a matter that's in court. He has appealed, so he's entitled to the final judgment of the Supreme Court before he can take any further action. So if you say he should apply political solution, maybe you are saying he should obey the ruling of the Court of Appeal. Ordinarily, he should obey the ruling of the Court of Appeal, but because he has a right to appeal or right of appeal, he has done that. He has exploited that right and has appealed to the Supreme Court. So he will wait. He has the right also to wait for the Supreme Court to settle the matter before he will not take action on the matter. So
I have to cut you short at this point. Legal practitioner Abraham Jigu, many thanks for sharing your insights. Moving on, the Nigerian Senate has officially confirmed the appointment of the 7 ministerial nominees announced last Wednesday by President Bola Tinubu. The screening took place in the Red Chamber on Wednesday following a postponement on Tuesday. After the nominees responded to questions from senators, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who congratulated them, and he further urged them to dedicate themselves to the development of the country.
The nomination of Dr. Nentewa Yelwada is hereby confirmed as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Muhammadu Maigari Dingyadi for appointment as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Driver Said Ahmad, PhD, is hereby confirmed as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me congratulate all the nominees for this elevation by Almighty God, courtesy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and also pray that God will give them the enablement to continue to put in their best for the upliftment of the citizenry and the benefit of this great country. Congratulations also to my colleagues, the civil senators who have spent the better part of the day from morning till now to do this all-important national assignment. I congratulate all of you, and I pray that Almighty God will reward each and every one of you with good health and wisdom to continue to serve our great nation.
Meanwhile, the Niger Delta Progressive Women, alongside a disability group, have stormed the streets of Abuja on Wednesday to express their discontent with President Tinubu's recent appointment of 2 men to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. The protesters converged on at the National Assembly to demand a female to head the affairs of the ministry. Led by its National Public Relations Officer, Tarinado Onazi, the group argued that appointing men to this critical ministry overlooks the unique perspectives and needs of women, who they say constitute nearly half of Nigeria's population.
We can't have 2 men in one ministry. At least if we have one at the states, one woman at the ministry, it would help us to have one voice. What we are crying for as women here, we need to be heard. We need the government, we need the President Tinubu to please come to our aid. We will not stop coming here until we get an answer from our plead. We may not be so. We have suffered for too long. We need a woman in this post. We need somebody who will take care of us. A woman with good track records. Woman who has proven herself, like the less privileged had cried out to you and said that they want somebody that they can easily run to in times when are hard for them.
Woman I will want for the Ministry of Humanitarian. Make it help us. Because now woman go fit answer woman cry easily. We don't greet them since, we don't beg them since. Make him help us. We know say no only him go fit help us. When we reach there now, before we go near him, we go talk to man. Protocol, this and that, they don't go allow us to see man. But if our fellow woman, it go there very easy for us to assess him. I beg our God, our president, help us. Our papa, help us. Help us. Now woman I we want. For the Ministry of Humanitarian, now woman we want.
The Nigerian Senate has deferred 2 concurrence bills that propose establishment of the Nigerian Forest Security Service 2024 and the Nigerian Port Economic Regulatory Agency 2024. Both bills had previously passed second reading in the House of Representatives. In his lead debate, Senate leader Okoyemi Bamidele highlighted that the proposed Forest Security Service would aim to prevent and combat crimes within Nigeria's forests, while the Port Regulatory Agency will focus on the economic regulation of port services. However, some lawmakers expressed concerns that these bills would duplicate the responsibilities of existing agencies, emphasizing that Senate concurrence on such bills is not obligatory under its rules.
The objectives of these bills are: 1, to establish the Nigerian Port Economic Regulatory Agency as an economic regulatory authority, hereinafter referred to in this bill as the agency, for port services, hereinafter referred to in this bill as regulated services, and to set out the objectives, scope, functions, and powers of the agency.
Mr. President, I'm sure we are not going to be carried away by the excitement of the fact that bandits and hoodlums find habitation in our forests, and therefore go on to pass bills that will go to contradict some of the provisions that we have in our security agencies to protect our land.
By the time we resort to use of hunters in law, use of hunters, and in my place, hunters are of different categories. What we appear to have been created to make the forest safe may also become a legal foundation for those who have weapons, not necessarily trained officially. The hunters train hunters, and they are allowed to bear weapons in the forest, and God help us that they use it for the good of the nation.
That the two bills will step down for full details to be provided, for us to go through clause by clause consideration, look at the merits and demerits of the bills before approving same for second reading and further legislative action. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The two bills are hereby stepped down.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says the sale of crude in Naira to local refiners has set the Nigerian economy on the path of industrialization and modernization. Edun, who chairs the Committee on Crude Oil and Refined Product Sales in Local Currency, said this while addressing State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu to review the progress on the sale of crude in Naira to local refiners, which he says aims to eliminate exchange rate barriers, promoting a more stable oil sector. Victoria Konde has more on the story.
In early October, the federal government had initiated a policy to allow the sale of crude oil to the Dangote refinery in Naira, moving away from traditional transactions in US dollars. This policy was approved by the Federal Executive Council and aims to stabilize domestic fuel prices while strengthening Nigeria's currency by reducing dependence on dollars for crude oil transactions. Speaking after a meeting with President Tinubu on progress made so far, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says the Implementation Committee and the Subcommittee have worked assiduously with all stakeholders to ensure the initiative was implemented. He further says the scheme was also made possible by the investment of the Dangote Group with its 650 barrels per day capacity refinery.
Market pricing of foreign exchange, the market pricing of petroleum products has also paved the way for NNPC to restore its balance sheet, restore its financial fortunes, and of course, to give the Federation, federal, state, and local governments more funding in order to allow them to meet their obligations, salary payments to workers, social services to the population generally, and of course, key infrastructure development. The economy has been set well and truly on a path, although it's early steps and there is much to be done, but we can now see a clear path to industrial development for modernization of the Nigerian economy because the key prices are right and it is encouraging private sector investment.
On his part, Chairman Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals says his company is capable of satisfying local demand with supply of crude.
We have 500 million liters, in our tanks. So 500 million liters in our tanks, even if there's no production from anywhere or no imports, this will take the country more than 12 days, with no imports, with no production, with nothing. So we are very ready. We are more than ready. And, I'm also putting my own name on the line by giving Mr. President that, yes, we will be able to supply the market.
Dangote added that the president had pledged to support domestic industries and allow local refineries to work, thereby attracting more investment into the country. Victoria Konde, TV360, Lagos.
We'll take a break here, but coming up on news now, CAF slams fresh sanctions against Libya over botched AFCON qualifier. Stay with us for details. Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. The Federal High Court Abuja has stopped the Central Bank of Nigeria from further releasing monthly financial allocations to the Rivers State government. Justice Joyce Abdul Malik issued the order on Wednesday in a judgment on a suit filed by the Rivers State House of Assembly led by Martin Sameole. In her ruling, Justice Abdul Malik held that the presentation of the 2024 budget by Governor Siminalayi Fubara before a four-man Rivers House of Assembly was an affront to the constitutional provision. We also informed you that the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says the sale of crude in Naira to local refiners has set the Nigerian economy on the path of industrialization and modernization. Edun, who chairs the Committee on Crude Oil and Refined Products, says sales in local refinery, he said it while addressing State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu to review the progress on the sale of crude in Naira to local refiners, which he says aims to eliminate exchange rate barriers, promoting a more stable oil sector. In case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Well, let's join Opeyemi Owosheni for what's new in the world of business. Over to you, Opeyemi.
Thank you, Simisola. Welcome to Business News. The Arewa Civil Rights Movement has expressed disappointment over the Northern governors from opposition to President Bola Tinubu's tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly. The bills aimed at reforming tax collection in Nigeria include the Nigeria Tax Bill 2024, Tax Administration Bill, Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday in Abuja, the national president of the group says the governor's rejection of the bill is ill-conceived and capable of setting the country back.
On what basis are they even actually issuing the directive? Then what is the essence of actually having a separation of powers? Are the federal lawmakers, were they elected by the governors? They are not. So this is an anomaly, like we've just said. The lawmakers' responsibility is to their constituents. It's not to the governors. So should the northern lawmakers reject the bills based on the interference from the governors, they would have confirmed to those who voted them into office that they are incapable of serving. Such disrespect for the wishes of their constituents will definitely result in a wave of recall, as the people will not accept rubber-stamped lawmakers. That is what we are saying. So if they actually agree, if they pander to the whims and caprices of the governors, it then means that they don't have the capacity in the first place to actually be there as representatives. Then it then means that we will be jeopardizing even their re-election at the fullness of time. So I want to believe that federal lawmakers are matured, intellectually matured, mentally matured, that nobody can actually manipulate them. And they should also put into consideration the interest of their constituents. because they are there to serve the people. They are not there to actually serve the minority few, which the governors are part of.
We'll take a short break now and be back with Stock Market Report. Welcome back. The Nigerian exchange market further dipped on the third weekday of trading by 0.04% with a market cap of 54 trillion naira, standing at the 93,000 basis point. Now in the aggregate, we see 125 listed equities participating in trading, ending with a market breadth of 33 gainers against 23 losers. Leading the chart of losers is PZ Nigeria, which came out last with an end of the price depreciation of 10% at 18 naira 90 kobo per share. It was followed closely by Jay's Bank, which also depreciated with 10%. Now in summary, today's market shows 35% improvement in volume, 71% improvement in turnover, and 5% improvement in the deals, meaning that the market had 538 million volumes of shares valued at over 15 billion naira and exchanging 10,028 deals. Now on the global front, only the UK FTSE traded in a similar way like the Nigerian exchange market, with the US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei in the bulls after a series of bears at the market. Now for our foreign exchange market, the Great British Pound maintained its 2,000 naira basis point at the black market at 2,270 naira. Meanwhile, the dollars and the euros are being traded at 1,750 naira and 1,860 naira at the black market, respectively. That's it on both business and stock market reports. Over to you, Simi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Okpeyemi. And in other countries, Botswana is set to vote in a general election in which incumbent President Mokwegwe Etsi Masisi is seeking a second term, and his ruling party hopes to extend its nearly 6 decades in power. According to reports, Masisi's Botswana Democratic Party, which has governed the country of 2.3 million people for 58 years since independence from British rule in 1966, remains the favorite despite its decrease in popularity. 63-year-old Masisi is competing against 3 challengers on Wednesday for another 5-year term. The BDP, which is among Africa's longest ruling parties, retains a majority in parliament, having won 38 of 57 contested seats in 2019. And on sports, the Confederation of African Football has slammed fresh sanctions against Libya Football Federation, which include a $20,000 fine and 2 upcoming matches behind closed doors. The latest sanctions come in the wake of Libya's appeal against the initial decision by CAF, which saw Nigeria awarded 3 points and 3 goals after an airport debacle involving the visitors in Libya. CAF had ruled that Libya violated several regulations in handling the Nigerian team's arrival, leading to a forfeited match and a $50,000 fine. Libya, however, swiftly filed an appeal seeking to reverse the victory awarded to Nigeria. And world #1 tennis player Jannik Sinner has withdrawn from the Paris Masters indoor event due to an intestinal virus which tournament organizers say he contracted before he arrived in Paris. Sinner has now been replaced in the draw by Frenchman Arthur Cazaux, who was drafted in from qualifying. Cazaux will face either his compatriot Corentin Moutet or American Ben Shelton in his second round opener on Tuesday. Well, that's it on News Now. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.